$600. I mean, that's not terrible. Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and start? How are we doing today? What do we got? Not quite half of us yet. Yeah, we're a little short on people today. Long weekend. Oh, Carson's here. Hey, Sam.
I'm just gonna ask, if we wanna join the class with Zoom, do we need, excuse me, school email account or just,
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah, I believe you have to log in to the school email account. Let's see, where's that link?
Class online.
Whoa, where's that link? That's weird. I thought I had the link up here. Let me add it just in case people need to get to it. I'm glad you bring that up, Sam. Thank you, thank you. Okay, great. Let me put that link there. So if you click on this link, I believe you have to log in with your BYU ID to log in. Yeah. Does that help? Awesome.
Jamie asked me.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, actually, I think there's a couple of people logging on Zoom now I think about it. Let's see. Am I on? Yeah, I'm on. Nobody else is here, but I'm here. Okay. I'm ready for them. When they show up, we'll be ready. Okay, let's see. Where are we? So today is Monday, June 22nd. We're going to talk about arrays. Woo! Arrays. I tell you what, arrays is one of those meat and potatoes. We're going to be talking about arrays today and Wednesday all week. Yeah, right? Every time you look at that paycheck, you're like, I could use a raise. Carson got it. Carson got it. Um, yeah, we're talking about arrays all week. Pretty cool what we're going to do with arrays this week. Next week, Monday, is the 3/4 exam. And I'm giving you time to do that in class. We won't meet here in class. So don't feel like you have to come to class to take the midterm because that's online.
I'm just kidding.
Jackson, yes, for you, it's in the testing center, buddy. For you, it is.
Okay.
That was pretty funny.
Okay, I got it.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Sorry, what was the question? I wasn't listening.
It's next week, Monday.
That's right. A week from today, midterm exam.
Proctor, right? Yes.
Yes.
Which happens because you have the perfect on your dude, I know you.
Yes, and remember, this midterm exam is out to get you. It doesn't like you. It is not your friend. It's going to hurt you.
Okay.
This is the midterm exam that has 10 different options for each question. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, K, I, J. How many other? J. It'll have like A through J.
You know,
There's 2 study guides, Ryan. 2. Dos. Dos, por favor. ¿Dónde están? Aquí, arriba. Aquí están. Aquí están los dos. Aquí está la link. ¿Cómo se dice link? ¿Cómo se dice midterm exam link? Página. Aquí está la página. De. 3/4 examen. Aquí están los dos. 1 y 2. ¿Hay preguntas? Wait, I should do it back in English. Any other questions about the midterm? Please.
the retake for the midterms is 26, right?
The retake for the midterm. Nope, nope, I don't see it. No, there's no retake here. There's nothing here. There's no this is a one-time deal. It's like that scripture in Alma. This is the life to repent. This is the time to repent.
Maybe the study guides that I've had several classes where I use exam study guides, so turn me on the study guides. And then I go into the text and I'm like, wow, those study guides did not jack.
Brother traffic got us. There's two of them. That means that, you know.
There's two of them. And who was I telling this to the other day? My suggestion, one suggestion is take both of these study guides, throw them into chat. You guys have the advantage of saying, hey, throw this into chat, help me prepare by spinning up 41 multiple choice questions that could possibly come from these study guides. And make sure you cover all the topics. In fact, do 100 and then say, I'm going to walk through these 100 and the ones I don't know, I want you to help me explain, right? I mean, do something you can, there's so many good ways to prepare for this thing. I almost feel like I'm just giving away the midterm. Do you know what I mean?
Just forget it.
Right? It's hard not to. Okay, good. Sam, did you have another question on the midterm?
No, she still can join.
Oh, she can't.
Yeah, she's using school email.
Is she?
I'm not sure if she knows.
I think there's a way I can change that. Let me see if I can change that real quick.
This is what she's getting.
Oh, weird. Oh, she just said thank you. What does that mean?
Oh, I said I'll ask.
Is that her email or is that her login? See if she can log in, see if she can use her BYUI login.
Yeah.
Because sometimes those are different. In fact, I can just turn off authentication. And then let me just go ahead and restart this. Wait, no, I can't restart it because I've already started it. Oh, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Congratulations.
That was actually really good.
It was fun.
If she goes, you know what, Sam, if you tell her to go to byui.zoom.us and then log in. If she logs in with her account, her BYUI account here, she should be able to log in. Let's see if that works. No, it's actually falling. Yeah, yeah, it's like -3.
Those 361s.
Actually, I haven't been to my rate. It's probably false. You know the people that use Rate My Professor? It's the extremes. It's the people that love you or the people that hate you.
That's true. This is especially him. Chapman.
Okay, great. We've talked about the midterm exam. There's a project due today. Raise your hand if you're done with the project. Woo, look at you people. Carefree life. Living a carefree life. This is it. Good job. Anybody who's already done, tell me what the hardest thing was for you on this project. What was the hardest thing? Rainin, you're smiling. Why are you smiling? Yeah, you.
Oh, this one was just the most painful.
Okay. Why is that?
Seeing all of the different things to work together correctly and read correctly, go through with separating out the digits was weird. For some reason, when I put the command into the terminal with the dash in there,
Okay.
there was no dash, it was fine. So
You kind of had to clean out the dashes.
But using no,
Okay, weird.
but like doing it. in
Oh, interesting.
I I tried hard not to use much of AI today. I think one so it took me a minute.
It took you a minute. Great. I think I like that. I think I'm okay with that. I like that. Here's, I can tell when somebody uses AI in their code because their code is like 10 times longer. It's so verbose. AI is so long in the
That had a
tooth.
lot of code though, because it had all these other things, you had to check to make sure there's nothing.
Right,
errors in the thing.
right.
So like you could have done all in one function.
Yep,
So
yep. So AI works, it works. And and if it's short, I can tell somebody who understands code and who just uses AI. So it's pretty obvious to me. And again, I'm not against AI. I think we need to be able to use it. I actually think that going through this course, you will probably, after this course, never write another line of code in your life. You won't need to, but you will need to learn how to read the code and make the changes. Yeah. So the benefit of this class is really getting to that familiarity level of reading it and understanding it. And that's what we're going to write. We're going to write this semester. So after this semester, your writing of code is basically done for the rest of your life. Welcome to the club. Yeah. But one of the big things about programming and logic is arrays. That's what we're going to do about today. Um, so let's dive in. What's that? Arrays. Who needs arrays? Raise your hand. You guys are, the challenge with arrays is you got to perform more, right? Yes, Rainen, you got to work harder. Speaking of which, Rainen, since your hand is still up, would you mind offering a prayer for us? Perfect. Francis, come on in, just in time for prayer, buddy. Blessings on your head.
What?
Blessings on your head. Your name came up in an email that I got today about your competition win.
Oh,
It went to the dean, it went to the president emeritus office and came down through the dean's office. So
Oh,
now the
wow.
whole school knows your name, Francis. Yeah, he won an international competition. I mean, he was on a team. The team won, but he was on.
Francis, what's the competition?
it was it's called hackathon.
Oh, yeah, I know that one. Dude. That's good. He's a hacker man.
Dude, do you have to? Yeah, I'm just kidding. It wasn't hacking.
Dude, Francis, I'll give you like a cake or something. I'll pay you something.
Why I did that with myself. I spent a lot of my time on that, and that's why my grade is so bad.
Actually,
You gotta pick your battles, you know what I'm
you
saying?
can choose your battles. All right, great. Let's have a prayer. Thank you.
I do everything about it. I'll be guide us and protect us all that we do. Bless the Holy Spirit with us. Learn and remember all the things we need to do. Love and serve and of things that we say.
Amen. Thank you very much. Okay, great. Before we launch in here, go ahead and download the file for today. So click on June 22nd and download this Starwood 2 file, XLSM. We'll need to unblock that file. But let me make sure we got Jamie. Okay, Jamie's in. Jamie, you're here. Great. Okay, great. I just wanted to check to make sure she was here. So let me download this file. Here we go. We're going to download this file, Starwood 2. And here's kind of the scenario of this file and our objective for today. Let me unblock this file. Right click. Oops, wait, did I open it first? Let me right click. Properties, unblock. Got it. Okay, now I can open the file. And this is what it should look like. So we have a list of hotels. In fact, let me go to the distance tab. On the distance tab, we have a list of hotels. I believe it's 36 hotels. And these are all hotels owned by the Sheraton, or really the Starwood Company of hotels, right? Starwood owns Sheraton, they own the Westin, they own what's the other one? There's a couple of different resorts in here. Four Points, St. Regis in San Francisco, Four Points. So they own all these hotels. And the scenario here that we're going to work with today to learn about arrays is you've just been hired by this company. And they say, hey, you graduate in July. We want you to start, but we want you to, before you start in the office, we want you to go to all 36 hotels and visit all of them. You know, just kind of notice what you notice. Look around. We don't want you giving assignments other than just go visit 36 hotels. You say, well, I've got a family, and they're like, that's fine. We'll give you a rental. We'll give you a minivan or whatever you want. Take your family with you. Drive to all these hotels. Okay. The question is, which hotels do you go to when? And this is a classic problem. This is fairly strongly logistics. This problem has a name. Anybody know what the name of this problem is? No, it's bigger than me. They were trying to solve this problem in the 1500s. There's some really interesting mathematicians that have been working on this for literally hundreds of years. The traveling salesman's problem. And the question is, how do you reduce the total distance traveled across all these different destinations, right? And it turns out that there's only one way to solve it. Guess what that is? Well, that too. You got to use math. It turns out that the best way to solve is to literally go through each possible combination. Guess how many combinations there are? And I'll just show you. Anybody know how to calculate the different number of calculations or possible routes with 36 destinations? Just 36.
36. And I think it's the power of 36.
Could be a minus one something.
Right. There's an easy way to do it, and it's called factorial. What is the factorial of 36? Are you ready for this? It's going to be a very big number. What is this number? I don't even know how to say this number. That's right. So every combination of these 30s, and it's not a number. I mean, it's not a dollar value. What is that? I don't even know what that number is. This is the number of possible routes in just 36 options. Isn't that crazy? So let's do this. Let's say that um, let's say that we had a computer that we could check 5,000 different routes per second. Okay. Let's just see if we had the compute power to solve this. So let's take this divided by 5,000. I still don't know what that number is. This is per second. So let's take per hour. So this is this divided by 60, divided by 60, or divided by 60, divided by 60. So minutes and then seconds. Okay. I still can't, I have no idea what that number is. Let's do divided by 365.
24, sorry. 24. Then it would be like 12. That's how many years. That's how many years.
That's how many years it would take my computer full time, 24/7, to go through all those routes. I don't even know what that number is. What's the general? Okay, let's say this. What if we use 1 billion computers? What if we take this divided by how many billions? 1 billion computers. How many years is that? I still can't say that number. I don't even, 2 septillion? I'm impressed you even know that number. I don't know. What about what's the best age? What's the best known age of the universe? Anybody?
Universe.
Yeah, it is. I've heard 20 million. I don't know if that's right. 20 billion, I mean, 20 billion years. Okay, so let's take the full 20 billion. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, I can finally say the number. This is 117 billion universe existence years of a billion computer processing time. So, so the reality is, what part of what's interesting about these problems is, um, these are unsolvable problems. So mathematics has come up with a whole category of people that look at these problems and just try to say, okay, half of these are not viable, most likely not going to contain the best route solution. So let's look at the other half and let's whittle this down, right? Um, so it's just kind of an interesting category out there. This exists, and think about this from a business perspective, right? How many companies are making, what's an average number of stops that an Amazon driver has per day? Anybody know? Anybody delivery, past experience? Ryan,
They come a couple.
how many deliveries a day does an Amazon driver do on average?
I think one.
Let's ask Claude. I'm gonna guess probably around 100, let's say. 100 stops a day.
That's
Is that high? Well, if you go through a neighborhood, you could stop 10 times in one neighborhood. About 100.
This is 200 ranges per day, roughly 250 units. 450 per day.
So we're just talking about 36. So if they're doing 200 per day, this is absolutely bottom line implications for Amazon, FedEx, UPS, anybody, DoorDash, I mean, Uber, right? Anybody who's delivering. This is the kind of problem that they're pouring money into. It says direct bottom line implications. Okay, so we're not going to solve this today, but I just wanted to point that out. It's kind of interesting idea. What we're going to do today is we're going to pick, I think the Salt Lake City. Let's pick the Salt Lake City Sheraton, and let's assume we start there, and then we'll just go to the next closest hotel. Does that sound reasonable? We'll say, okay, from the Salt Lake City, here are all the distances to all the other hotels. Which one's the next closest? And I want to say it's Vegas. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Vegas. So you go to the Vegas one, right? So basically what we're trying to do is we're kind of trying to come up with an itinerary of where to go amongst these 36 hotels to find the shortest distance. And we'll just go, by the way, that's not going to be the shortest route. That's right. We'll just acknowledge that up front. It's not going to be the shortest route, but for the purposes of this, it'll work for today. Um, what would be the shortest route? That's a good question. That's Solver, baby. Evolutionary. Have you guys done Solver? I don't have it installed. Solver would come close. It turns out it may not be the shortest path, but it would come pretty close. Yeah, just because of the number of options, right? I mean, it would be searching. It would literally take Solver 20, 117 billion universe length existences to find. That's right. That's right. That's right. There's some truth to that. Okay, great. So that's kind of the context here. Let's build some arrays. So here's what I want to do first. Let me just demonstrate. Let me pull open and you can follow along with this. Let me pull open my Visual Basic. Here's my module 1. It's blank. Let's go ahead and start a sub. Let's name this sub initialize. Initialize. Okay, so I got my sub here, initialize. And let's just do some basics here. We know what this is, right? We know that what we're doing here is we're putting together a variable. It's called hotels. and it's going to be a string. Sounds reasonable. Well, what if I wanted a variable for each hotel? What would that look like? Dim hotels 1 as string. Dim hotels 2 as string. Why is that not going to work? Because you just gotta have to have a little patience.
This can't work.
This can't work. Actually, it would work, but there is a better way. What if there was a hundred or 1,000 variables, right? Maybe not hotels, maybe it's products, maybe it's SKUs, maybe it's customers, right? So it turns out there's a better way to do this, and it's in arrays, right? So an array, the nature of array, instead of creating multiple variables, we can do this with an array. I can say dim hotels. After the hotels, I can put a number in here. I can put in 36. What is that going to do? That is going to create 37, it turns out, variables with like a subscript.
When you do 30.
Yes. So it would be like this. It would be like I would say hotels 0 equals Sheraton, right? Hotels 1 equals the Hilton. And we can go in and we can fill in each of those variables. We just created, so this line is creating a potload of variables in one line, which is beautiful, right? This is good. We like this. Here is one of the tricks to arrays. This is one of the weird parts to arrays. And it goes back to the index. This is actually an index number. So when you consider an index number and you think about what this hotels is, what's the definition of a variable? It's on the midterm. Ryan, have you opened the midterm exam study guide yet?
I've opened the textbook.
Appreciate your honesty. Appreciate your honesty. A variable is a location in memory. That's what it is, right? It's a location in memory. And with a specific data type, and there's a long, I'll let you read the rest of the formula or the rest of the definition. But it turns out that arrays start with the number 0. Why is that? Because the location in memory, this 0, this 1, this 36 is like an offset number. So it's saying I'm offsetting a certain number of places in memory. So this 0, the reason why it starts with 0, all arrays start with 0 in VBA, is because it's an offset. So when you think of an offset, it's starting right there. And it turns out when you create this in memory, it's going to create 36 continuous variables in memory. One right after the other, right? With zeros and ones, we saw that zeros and ones, right? So the offset 0 arrays start with 0. Other languages, this is not always the case, but in VBA, 0 is the offset. So that's where that first variable starts. So if we have 36 hotels here in this list, we know we're going to need 36 variables. What's the number I should put in parentheses here? 35. That's it. Does that make sense? Because we're accounting for that first variable, which is the offset 0. That's where the variable strings start, okay, in memory. Very good. Okay, great. So now what we can do is we can just do this. We have this one line. We have officially created 36 variables waiting to be filled in. So let's fill them in. Let's do a for loop. Let me do a dim, and let's do an x to keep track of our loop here. Dim x as integer. Integer is probably fine when we're creating, different types of variables. We need to know what our data type is. So I think x as an integer is fine. We're not going to have more than 32,000 hotels in this example, so that should be fine. And let's do a for loop. For x is equal to 0 to hotel count. Let's count the hotels. How many hotels do we have? I like that. What if we want to know how many there are? fact, let's just do this for now. Let's just do 36 for now. We'll come back and change that later. How about that? So, am I doing 36 or 35? Why 35?
This technically goes only up to 35, becomes 0.
That's it. Nice. I'm going to type in next here so I don't forget to close my for without my next, right? There's my opening the for loop, and the next is closing the for loop. So we have this loop. We have a for loop. We're going to run this loop 36 times. What do I want to do? I'm going to take this hotels, and I'm going to put X as the index of my hotels, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the values from the spreadsheet, and I'm going to put these values into the variables, right? That's what I'm going to do in this loop. So how am I going to do that? Well, I know up here, distance is both the name of the tab as well as the code name. Here's the code name outside the parentheses. Here is the tab name inside the parentheses. So I'll say take the distance sheet, and let's take cells as the property of that distance sheet. And let's say, how do I want to do this? Let's say which row? Let's do the second row. So if X is 0, we want 2 plus X. And let's just do one. Let's just do one column. How about that? Just to get something in there. Does that make sense? Yeah, the 2 plus X. So this part of the cells notation here. So if I do cells open parentheses and I get this 2 different parameters down here, I have a row index and a column index. So it wants me to fill in both the rows and the columns as to tell it which cells do you want me to pull from, right? As kind of a property of the sheet.
You're saying the 2 is the row, and X is the increment.
That's right. So I know that because my data starts in row 2 here, right? If I do 2 plus X, then as my X increments, as my X goes up, it will go down to the next row, right?
We're gonna need another, variable. Or column.
Yeah, we will. Right now, I'm just saying column 1. Which column is column 1 in the sheet distance? It's just column A. Column 1 is column A.
Are you gonna have to offset it to make it go?
Yes, but it turns out that's a good question. What am I looking for here? In terms of the hotels, this is actually a string. So I'm just trying to fill out the hotels array. So here's kind of a graphical picture. I'm just trying to get the name of the hotels into this array. So I'm not dealing with the numbers yet, right? I'll deal with all these numbers in just a second. But this first loop is just give me the name of the hotels into this array. So we'll say the second row, first column, value. And then the third row, first column. And then the fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, right, all the way down. So this should do what? What should this do? Who can read this to me? Who can help me explain what this means? What's going to happen when we run this loop? Ryan, what's going to happen?
It's gonna go.
How many times is it going to run the loop?
35 times.
Ooh,
36.
close. 36. Nice catch.
Yeah.
Why 36?
Because 0 is an object. Actually,
Beautiful, because arrays start with an index of 0, so it's going to run 36 times. Which cell is it going to pull first? If X is 0, what is the value that it's going to pull first when X is 0?
Hold the first. No, is it, yeah, is that then dividing each of our hotels variables? Pretty much.
That's it.
That's crazy.
So it's going to take this cell and do what with it, Ryan?
I'm gonna find all the variables, basically go down and like list all the
Beautiful.
hotels.
Beautiful. So let's check. Let's do another loop here. 4x is equal to 0 to 35. And in this loop, let's do a debug.print. And let's see if Ryan's correct. Debug.print. What are we going to print? Print whatever X is, comma, hotels, and then X inside of that. X is kind of the index number of that variable. Okay, so when we run this function, what should we see? First, it's going to do one loop, and it's going to take all of these names from the spreadsheet, put it into an array. This is an array of 36 variables. And then it's going to do another loop here, and it's going to print those. Where is it going to print it? Should print it up to this immediate window. Ready, set, go. What happens? Wells, what happened? It did the thing. Rodri. Nice. What was the error? Variable not defined. Oh, yeah, you gotta see how it's highlighted the X there in blue? Did you get this one right there? I think that one's not. Ryan? Francis. Hacker. Francis, aka Hacker. Oh, you just changed your grade, is what you're saying. You just spent the first 5 minutes of class hacking into Canvas, changing your grade.
I think you're gonna let us down.
Francis is a great part of the team.
So we were tracing nitrogen use efficiency along from field to a loaf of bread and see how much nitrogen goes into humans in the form of amino acids.
I second whatever he just said. I second that 100%.
That's totally supply chain.
Yeah.
You track the nitrogen use from the field to a loaf of bread and how those transferred into amino acids at the human level. See why he's a national champion?
He's
That's actually pretty cool. And you built a tool for that or something, right? Some kind of visual a website for it. What's the website? Insight?
Yeah.
Can we look at it real fast? Just real briefly. Insight.
And it's N SIG. Yeah. Let's see if we got
.com
.com.
or just this?
No.
Nope, that's not you. Pretty sure that's not you.
No, that's not it.
Insight. Yeah, you've just lost all credibility. I don't see it here. All right, back to work. We tried. We tried, Francis. We tried. You have to send it to me. See if you find it and send it to me. Okay, great. So what have we done so far? What we've done is we created an array. We told it we want to build 36 different variables. We went and we pulled data from the spreadsheet. We put it into those variables. Then we pulled that from the variables and printed this up here. So that's great. What we would do then, what that's going to say, if we come over here to the arrays, we're going to have an array like this, right? We have this hotels array, and we should have this 0 to 35 index number in all of these names in this one array. Okay, very good. There's two more arrays that we're going to work on here. One is the route array, the actual route. What are we going to do to identify the route, the hotel by hotel that we're going to take? We decided already that we're going to go use the Salt Lake one. So I'm going to put 1 into here. So we're just going to use the index number of the hotel, in this case, Salt Lake City. We'll start with 1. But what if we initialize this so that all of these we know we haven't visited those yet? What could we do here to kind of initialize all of these different?
Like say that we haven't gotten here.
Yeah, yeah.
We'd also have to fill that out for area, we just not.
We should put 1 for the first one.
Well, I mean, like, okay,
Is there, but what if we did like zeros? Could we do zeros all the way down here? Just to say, okay, we've done the first one. The problem with zeros is what?
there's a value.
Yeah, that's right. There's actually a hotel. So that could be confusing. Um, is there another number we could use? 2? I mean, there's only 35. Can we use 36?
Can we use the letter?
Oh, good question. We're going to define this as a number, so we can't use a letter. Yeah,
Can we
we're going to use it as an index. And the reason we want this as a number is part so that we can manipulate it and do loops through it, right? So there's some benefit and reason why we'd want these numbers.
They're like 37.
Yeah, we could, yeah, right. We could do 37, 36. The downside is if we ever wanted to increase the number of hotels here,
How about a negative number?
how about a negative number? I like that. Let's do a negative. What can we do? -1. Let's do it. Let's do -1. That's easy enough. First, I'm going to come up here to create a new variable. Let's call this variable route. Let's do it. Let's call it route. And how many do I need?
We need 30.
35. Why 35? Because it's offset. It starts with a 0. Beautiful. And let's do this. Yeah, this is an interesting question. What should our data type be here? We could do integer. Um, let's do long, just to take a little bit more memory, have a little bit more experience with a new other data type. So I'll do long, data type as long. So route 35 as long. Okay, so again, we've got a route here. We've got 36. We're saying again, create 36 different variables. We'll come into our first loop, and inside of our first loop here, let's say route X is equal to, and we're going to initialize this to, let's say, -1. Does that work? Mostly just to avoid the 0. And that way, that tells us we have not been to that route yet, right? In terms of identifying what that route should be. But let's do this now. We've got this 0 to 35, and let's think long term. If we think about the possibility of using this for a longer program in case the company buys more hotels, or they want you to go look at more hotels, what could we do instead of using this 35? We can come in and create a variable to figure out what that 35 should be. So let's come up here to the top here, and let's create a dim. Let's do a hotel count. And this will be a long, just in case, just in case they want to use it for a long, I'll do a capital C, a lot more hotels. Or if it wasn't hotels, if it could be products or SKUs or a whole bunch of other interesting ideas. So once we create a variable for this, now we'll come down here and we'll say hotel count. How are we going to count how many hotels? We've done this before. Here's what this looks like. We'll take that distance sheet and we'll start on range A2. So this is A2 on the distance sheet. And let's do the end Excel down. So this is where we're hitting the end key and the arrow down key. And we want to go to the last one on that list. And that's going to be that row. So we'll say dot row. And if we do that, what happens? We're saying this end down. That's row 37. Now what do we have to do? If we want the total number of hotels, we know there's only 36 hotels, right? If we start on A2 and go down, that row is 37. So let's do -1, and that'll get us the number of hotels. Does that make sense? We're starting on A2, range A2, end Excel down, whatever that row is, which is the last row of data, subtract 1, and that'll get us the number of hotels. That's right. That's right. We would assume they would want to add to the bottom here if they added some more hotels, but yeah. Yep. Okay, great. So now that we have our hotel count, what we can do here is we can change our dims. And we can change these 35s to be hotel counts. So for example, I can come to this 4x equals 0 to hotel count. And I can take out the 35 and I can say hotel count. Now, wait a minute. What do I have to be careful of here, though? What's that? -1. Yeah, very good. I've got to be a little bit careful here because my hotel count is the actual count of hotels, 36, and because I'm starting x at 0, I'm going to subtract 1 from my hotel count. Okay. Again, this is a little bit of playing with this idea with arrays and VBA. We have the 0 index. We're starting with arrays at 0. So we're accounting for that by subtracting 1 here. Okay, great. So this solves this problem. Let's do the loop down here as well. Instead of this 35, I'll do hotel count -1. Okay, great. Good. Any questions so far? Comments, questions, concern? Are we good so far? Okay, great. But we have this other issue here. So we are able to identify the hotel count here, but we're still only setting up 36 variables here and 36 variables here. How do we make this so that this works? What we can't do is we can't do this. We cannot do this. This will not work. Why not? It's a good question. It turns out that these dim statements, you cannot stop on a dim statement, right? I can't break it. I can't say stop here. The dim statements are actually run before any of the code. So it goes through the entire subroutine and looks for all of the dim statements and allocates variable to those dim statements and then runs the code. So if we don't know what the hotel count is because it hasn't run that code, it hasn't run this line yet.
It's like relating to something that's happened.
Exactly.
You can also do the same, you could run that line for each of it. You can make their own.
Like for X or hotel count,
No,
all of the
for
dim
dim-
statements.
In hotels, we could just do hotels equals salary, for example.
Oh, I could, but it's not going to run, right? The dim statement runs before any of the code. So it still won't figure that out before it has to take care of the dim statement. So we can't, in other words, what I'm saying is we can't use expressions like this. What we can do is this, we can actually leave them blank. And what we can actually do is come into the code and then do what's called a redim. And so what we're saying here is we can say redim hotels to be hotel count -1.
That advice of hotels, hotel, but not like one would work better. The one we were just doing.
Yeah, no, we have to do both, it turns out.
You have to do.
We do have to do the dim hotels because we're telling it, I don't know how many exact variables I want you to allocate, but I'm going to tell you in a minute. So just chill for a minute, right? So there's no number here inside the parentheses. We're just telling it, I want an array as string. And then once it runs the actual code, this is where I tell it the number to do. In fact, I've got to put this redim after my hotel count, right? I put it up there, but it needs to come after the hotel count once I actually know what that number is, right? So here is, right, because it runs sequentially, right? So I have to make sure I put hotel count before my redim, right? Because this won't evaluate correctly until after this line. Very good. So here's what I can do. I can do a redim for the hotels. I can do a redim for the route. And I can say for the route, let's also do hotel count -1. And that's going to then create all of those exact number of variables that I need. Beautiful. Pretty cool, right? Pretty cool. Now this last array that we're going to create. So far we've created two arrays. These are two array variables. And how do I know? Because they have open and closed parentheses, but right after the name. So both of these are array variables. X here is just a normal variable. It's not an array variable. And I've said I'm going to create these. I count the number of hotels. Then I redim that array variable to be the number that I want. In this case, it's going to be the 36 minus 1, so that'll be 35. That's right. Yeah, that's it. But I still need one more array variable, which is this distance variable. Okay, so what do we have? So far, we've done the hotels. We have this route. By the way, should we do the first route as what do we call it? As one? Yeah, maybe we'll do that next time. Let's see, what time is it? Oh man. Um, we need one more array. We have this distance array. So all these are going to be -1. We already did this one, so I'll copy these down here. In fact, this is -1 technically as well. I'll do that -1. So this is what we have. We have one hotels array, and it's just a list. It's just a list of hotels, right? We have another array called route, and this is the route that we're going to do, the first hotel, the second, the third, the fourth, and all this. And so far, there's just -1 to tell us that we haven't actually done anything with inside this route, but we have this created. The last one we're going to use is a distance array. What we're going to do here is, once we're at a hotel, let's say Salt Lake City. So Salt Lake City is index number 1. We're going to take this array and we're going to say, okay, based on this list of 36 hotels, which one is the closest next hotel? Okay, so we're going to create this array to answer that question. And what's weird about this array, or what's different, is there are two dimensions. This is a two-dimensional array. What do I mean by dimension? This is a one dimension. This is a one dimension. This is a two dimension. We have both rows and columns here, okay? And so how do we do that? How do we create a two-dimensional array? What's that? An array of arrays. Yes. Here's a way to do it. I'll come up here. I'll put all my arrays together. Let's call this, because my sheet is named distance, let's call this array variable dist, D-I-S-T. And what I'm going to do here is, if I was just doing the absolute number, I would say 35, 35. Does that make sense? And let's do this as an integer, because if any hotel is longer than 32,000 miles away, that would be larger than the circumference of the Earth. So integer should work fine here. Question? No, we'll come back to that in just a second. I just put the 35 in here for demonstration purposes. Yes, arrays can have 3 dimensions. They can have 4 dimensions. Yeah, it's really list of lists. You can think of it as buckets of buckets. So this would be, I mean, it's not even rows and columns, right? You can think about this as rows and columns, but you don't have to. In other words, you could think of this as 35 buckets. And inside each of those buckets is another 35 buckets, right? The rows and columns distinction doesn't necessarily have to align with these numbers. But you could have multiple dimensions, right? You can have 35 big buckets, and inside those you have 35 medium buckets, and inside each one of those medium buckets you have 35 small buckets, right? That's kind of one way to think about this. In my experience, I have never used more than a two-dimensional array. Once you start to go more than two-dimensional arrays in your programming, it's just, I mean, three-dimensional you can kind of see it. Once you go beyond that, it's kind of hard to understand exactly what's going on, right? So it's pretty uncommon, but it's possible. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 35, 35, but because we want to make this variable, we'll do the same thing that we did here with these other arrays. So I'll do nothing here. I'll take out any numbers here, and then I'm going to redim it down here. Redim dist. What am I going to redim? Hotel count minus 1, comma, hotel count minus 1, close parentheses, right? So same principle. I'm saying this one is going to have two separate dimensions, and those dimensions will be set after I run this row or this line of code, hotel count. Then I know exactly how many buckets I want here and exactly how many buckets I want here. Yeah. Yep, right here. We're doing that 3 times, right? We're redoing the dimensions. By the way, we won't do this one either, but you could also redim, and there's a command in here that you could say preserve. And if you want to include, I think this is on the midterm exam too. I'm just giving away all these great midterm exam nuggets. Midterm exam nuggies right here. Like chicken nuggies from McDonald's. Midterm exam nuggies. Preserve, what that will do is it will create a new array variable, and it will copy from the old one so that you don't lose anything, which is kind of nice. This can get a little bit unwieldy if you have an array with like 1,000 or 2,000 variables. It just takes a lot of time to do that, right? In this case, 36, not too bad. We won't preserve it. We don't have a need to preserve anything, so we'll take that out. But that is a possibility. That's also in the chapter. Raina, did you have a comment, question?
Um, I was wondering if you could, like, if you have to fill out, I was wondering, could you then add a third button?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, if you needed to add another dimension, you could redim it because it'll actually, the redim will actually create a new space in memory for it. Yeah, you could. That's right. Yeah, you could. And if you don't have the word preserve, then it will destroy everything. It won't keep anything, right? So if you redim without the preserve, then you're not keeping anything. Everything's gone, right? It won't copy over. It's still in the old array, but it won't copy over to this new array. Like redimming is creating a new array from the old one. Okay, good. Good questions. Okay, great. So we've set all this thing up. And so let me just make sure that this makes sense. So if I do dist of 1, comma 2, what am I saying? I'm saying I want this to be 0, 1. Um, 0, let's see, 0, 1, let's say 0, 1 is the row, and 0, 1, 2 would be right here, 653. So this would be, dist 1, 2 would be equal to 653, right? That's what we're saying here is we create this array variable 35 by 35, right? We're going to create this matrix or this 35 buckets of 35 buckets. And we're saying we're going to try to capture all this information into an array. So for example, one example would be dist 1, 2 is equal to 653. So how would we put this in? That's a good question. Let's see if we can figure out how to put this into an array and then figure out how to get it out. Does that sound good? And let's see where we go to that point. As we do that, I want to introduce something new, and this comes into play. We'll see this more in future classes as well. I'm going to take these three array variables, and I am going to move them up above the sub. I'm just going to click and drag them up there. I know, I just blew your mind. It's okay. It's okay. What does this mean? Usually when we do a variable inside of a sub, it means that this variable is only good for this sub. Once this sub is done and finished, this variable does no longer exist. When we have three variables outside of this sub, what does that mean? It means that these variables can exist across different subs. So you can have multiple subs or functions referring to these different variables. Option explicit, that's another midterm exam question. What's option explicit, Ryan? Help us out, buddy. Ryan, because I know you want to know. It's like rated R on B video. No, there's no option explicit. You were thinking Spotify. I know it. I know it. Option explicit says you have to explicitly state your variables. Otherwise, they don't exist. Otherwise, they'll give you an error. So this is just option explicit as a way to make sure you as a programmer are defining the variables that you're going to use. It's kind of nice, actually. If you didn't have option explicit, if this wasn't there, you would not necessarily have to define your variables. The problem with that is that if you were to use a variable like this, VBA has to guess what type of data you really want that to be. And that can get you into some pretty big problems down the road. Is it a string? Is it a number? It will behave one way when you think it should behave in a different way. So option explicit is really forcing you as a programmer to say, I need this to be a data type of number or data type of string so that it behaves correctly in the program.
So option explicit is a rule.
That's right.
The parameter interface over all the subs.
That's right. That's exactly right. It's true for all in this module one, all the subs in this module. Yeah, very good. And I think this was, if you go to tools options, there's an option right here that says require variable declaration. When this is checked, it will show up option explicit automatically. That's what that is.
You have a sub in a different module. It wouldn't.
Correct. Yeah, the option explicit here is referring just to module one. The same thing with these three variables, these array variables, just referring to module one. Yeah, very good. Okay, great. Okay, very good. Let's,
Sorry.
sure.
And according to the sub here, when you redend those variables, they're only redefined within the parent of this sub.
That's correct.
The next level is called the variables in the original.
No, that's a good point. Once these are redimmed in this sub, because these are created outside the sub, it will recreate those for all the subs.
Okay, so updates the option explicit.
That's right. So it will update all of these, and then those will be updated for all the different subs because they're created initially defined here. Yeah, it's a great question. So even though we make changes in this sub, because these are defined up here, these changes will be reflected across all the other subs. Yeah, great question. Okay, great. So now we've got this one array variable that has these two dimensions. And so let's do this. Let me take this dist1, 2 out and come back to our loops here. We have our loops. And here's the challenge here. We have in this loop, we have just one dimension. We just have an x. What we need to do is we need a second dimension. So let's create a y. I'm going to come up here. I'll do dim y as integer. And we need another letter here because inside of this 4x loop, we've got to do a 4y loop, right? We now have x and y. So that's how we're going to do this x and y. Let's do, again, I'm inside the for loop. I'm not after this first for loop. I'm inside of this first for loop. And I'm going to say for y is equal to 0 to hotel count minus 1. What am I going to do before I do anything else? I'm going to close my for. Don't forget to do that. That's just me. I always forget to do that. I'm doing that because it's me. So I've got a for and a next right after that inside of this loop, which is inside of the for loop. So I've got a nested for loop here inside of this loop, right? You guys see that? I've got a for y loop inside of my for x loop. This is going to give me my x and my y. Uh, Question?
To have the loop have any defined loop outside of it.
You like just keep adding on to it, not another four.
I'm just saying, just be because technically
Um,
the loop that is right inside of it and
right. Well, let's just, so let's say x's are my rows and y's would be my columns. So you're saying if we didn't have, do we really need a finish on my y's because x is going to terminate the column, the total loop? But we have to know how many columns we have, right? So we do need both ending points. Well, oh, I see what you're saying. In this case, it is symmetrical. Is it? In this particular case, that's right, because we have 36 hotels here and we have 36 hotels here. So in this particular case, that could work. But if they weren't symmetrical like this, which is interesting because not all rays have to be symmetrical. Do you know what I mean? So in other words, this dist could be 35 by 100. You know what I mean? It could be different numbers here. In this particular situation, it's the same. So to your point, that could work, right? But if it wasn't, we would need to have some closure.
you put the longer array
Right.
on the outside loop.
You can do it either way. You can do it either way. You just have to be consistent in how you do it. So let me answer that question a little bit long way. Because inside of this 4y is where we're going to create a dist. Here's our dist. And let's say we'll have our x and we'll have our y. So we'll do dist x and y. So when x is 0 and y is 0, what do we want to be in that value? Let's say we're going to go back to the distance, our distance sheet here, and we're going to start to put these numbers into this dist array variable. So let's do this. We have distance, that's our sheet. We'll do cells, and let's do 2 plus x as our row. What's our x? X is 0. So we want the second row of the sheets. That's going to be, in this case, row 2, right? We're going to take this entire row. What's our column index going to be? We're going to start with column B. So let's do 2 plus y there as well. So 2 plus 0 for the first time is going to be row 2. Row 2, column 2, right? So this is saying, here's our row 2 plus x, which is going to be 2. And then our column 2 plus y, which is going to be our column 2, our second column. So this is going to be that first value. And that's what we're going to want to put in dist 0, 0. Does that make sense? Whew.
Is it gonna go down?
Yeah, good question. Which way is it going to go? That's a great question.
Yeah, so.
Always is a row or column, yeah.
I think so, right? The way we've got it right now is we've got our X's in the rows and our Y's in the columns. So that says the Y, it's going to go through all of the Y's first before it goes to the next X, right? That's a great point. That's a really good, if you can see that, that's really good midterm exam preparation.
Next goes back to the second.
This next goes to this 4.
So when it does the first loop, it will to that 4, do that until it's out of Y's and go down.
That's right.
That's only going until it gets a number right there.
So this way,
How far is it going to go? It's going to do this 36 times. So regardless if there's a number or not in that cell, it's going to do this. So for example, in fact, let me just show you what this is going to do. It's going to first do dist x is going to be 0. Y is going to be 0, right? It'll do that. And then what is it going to do? It's going to dist x is still 0. What's y? 1. What's the next one it's going to do? It's going to go all the way to
5.
35. That's right, because hotel count is 36 minus 1.
Go to X.
That's it. And now x is 1. What's y? 0. Very cool. X is 1. What's y?
Like, let me get where's your exact. So,
Well, just because we have the y here, we're saying y is equal to 0 to hotel count minus 1.
is that row 0? That's one.
Yeah, that's right. So in this notation here, we're saying here is the, right, if we do cells open parentheses, the row is the first parameter. So we're saying our x's are in our rows and y is in our columns. Does that make sense?
The 2, yeah, the 0 just. Because like the row is 2, the y is 2. When I see this 0, 0, then I'm like thinking, second 1, it's like I'm trying to figure out what.
Yeah,
That's my
great question. So so when x is 0, the first time it goes through this, x is going to be 0 and y is going to be 0, right? So the very first dist is going to be 0, 0 based on these loops here. X is 0, y is 0. Boom, got it right there, right? The value it's going to put into that array is it's going to pull from the distance sheet, but it's going to pull the cell. In fact, we could, if we did this and we copied that over here into our immediate window and we said, hey, let's replace x and y with 0. What's the value? Right? That's really what we're going to say. And it's going to be blank. Why is it going to be blank? Because this is cells row 2, column 2. So we have row 2, column 2. It's that cell right there. Does that make sense? So if we say, okay, now we're doing the next one is y is going to increment 1. So this is going to be 2 plus 1, 691. Oh, okay. So the second time is x is still going to be row 2, right? This time y is going to be 3. 1, 2, 3. Third column over. So it's putting 691 into which dist?
So is this 4 just to find all the variables that all that?
Well, you don't have to, you know what? You don't have to say that like your arms flexed back here and your head. I feel like you're trying to make a statement.
Like, wow,
But so when x is 0 and y is 0, this is our dist array, and it's pulling. We have to make the 2 plus and the 2 plus y because we're trying to get to this row and to this column, right? We have to start here with our values, and then as x and y increase, we're going to go all the way over here. Y is increasing all the way to the end, and then once y is done, we increment x1, and we go down to this row. We go all the way over here, and then we go to this row. We go all the way over here. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, by the way, why is this all blank down here? Because it's a repeat. Yeah, common, just like maps. I guess in Europe, they sometimes do, kilometers up here and miles down here or something like that. But this is all the same information, so they just leave it blank. So the last thing we could do here is we could say, what we want to do is we want to make sure we get all these numbers in here as well, because when we fill this out for our array, it's just going to be easier to say, okay, right now we're in hotel 7. We want to look at this whole row and say which one is the closest one in this whole row. So let's add one line of code to this. Let me take this out because that was just demonstration. Inside of this loop, we can say dist y comma x is equal to dist x comma y. Isn't that crazy? We're just flipping it around, right? We're saying grab whatever the number is over here and put it over here, right? So grab this 23, put it right here in this spot. That's all we're saying. We're just kind of flipping this over to put the x and y into the yx position. Not bad. Not bad at all. Right, Ryan? It's a little rough. What? What's rough? That's what Jackson was saying. It was like he said it in a little bit different way. He's like, really? Really, Brother Chapman? Why do you
I think it's fascinating that. Never mind. It wasn't a criticism. It wasn't a criticism. Keep your mind. It was a statement of fact.
Okay, let's see if this works. So what we've done is we've created these 3 array variables outside of the sub so they can be available for other subs. We've created X and Y. We've created this hotel count. We know how many hotels they are. When we run this line, we're going to redim these array variables to say exactly how many we need. And then we're going to go pull the data from the distance sheet and put this into the names of the hotels. We're going to create a route X. We're going to default everything to -1 at this point. We haven't actually done anything with the route yet. And then we're going to create this third array, which is this dist array. Let me rename this to dist. And it should help us get the routings from the distance sheet, right? This is the miles between hotels and put it into array format like this. Okay, so let's test this. After we run this, I'll click on, let me just type in stop here down here somewhere, kind of at the end, and before the sub quits, and then let's test and see if the numbers we get are correct after we run this, okay? So I'll go ahead and run this sub, type mismatch.
Yeah, same thing.
Oh, what did I miss? Type mismatch. Oh, what's my type mismatch?
It says. Well, in here.
Let's see where we're at. What is X? X is 1. What is Y? Y is 1. Oh, interesting. Okay, so if X is 1 and Y is 1, what is this value? Yeah, I did. I went through one time. Oh, it's blank. 2 plus 1, 2 plus 1 is... Oh, is there something in this cell? This is third row, third column. Let's see if there's something in this cell. Well, the default should be 0. The length is 0. What's the type? Oh, it's a string. Did you call that, Jackson? Got to be a number. That's right. Why does it have to be a number? Because that's the way we created this, right? It's got to be an integer. So it's saying, wait a minute, you want me to take this string and put it into this variable, which is a number. Guess what the error is? Type mismatch. That's good. Because it's a type mismatch. Let's see. We could. Now I'm curious. Would that work? I don't even think that'll work. Let me check. No, it doesn't like it. This is, I mean, you probably have to format this. What is this formatted as? Oh, now it's 2 and 1. So yeah, it moved. It moved to the next row. How about that? So these cells that are formatted as text, that could be right. So if we take this table and format this as, whoa, I won't go that far. Numbers, then that's one way to make it work. Let's see if that works. X, so this is 4, fourth row, third column. So that's this guy. Is there anything in there? No? Oh, interesting. You know what? I might have to look at this and see what else is wrong. I'm looking at my notes too, and I'm missing it.
Is it freaking out about
No, because we're staying away from column 1, right? We're doing column 2. So it's not that. Yeah, let me check this out. I'll let you guys go early today. Is that okay? We'll finish this on Wednesday. And good job. Way to go. Good intro to arrays. Hopefully that makes a little bit more sense. You can have different dimensions. You can redim them in the code.
Just find the lowest.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. In terms of where we're going on Wednesday is which one's the lowest next closest hotel, that'll be the route. So we'll finish this up pretty quick next time. But we'll use some other subs to do it too.
One of the shortest routes.
Yeah.
Probably not even close.
Probably not the closest, actually. Yeah.
It's
almost guaranteed.
That like normal would my net score.
No.
I don't know if you intended to think about it. Here in Euro is going to.
Oh, you sent me the link? Email or Teams? Hey, thank you, Ryan. Oh, it's a Streamlit app. That's totally cool. This is Francis's. Oh man, look at that. This is Francis' hack. Precise nitrogen tracing and decision engine. Hackathon. Each gram of nitrogen is traced from fertilizer application to grain uptake, milling, final 1 kilogram reference loaf. Green flows equals retained, refined whole wheat. Oh, interesting. So if you apply 100 units of nitrogen, how much is consumed? 42.53. 42%. 26 in byproduct, 17 field difference. I don't know if that's consumer waste. I'm not sure what that is. Retail waste. Oh, consumer's waste is like people don't eat the end of the loaf. They'll throw the end pieces of loaf away. Retail waste is probably either the yield or it's not sold. Bakery loss is it doesn't get made into a loaf. That's an interesting waste, actually. That's
retail was like restaurant waste too.
Yeah.
It's
pretty cool. Thanks, Carson. Good job.
I will likely be trying to give you, we're sort of looking over the exam prep.
Bye, James.